Hello everyone, welcome back to Saddle Up Shooting. I'm Dave Strohmeyer, your host. I hope this is going to be a good workup video for you today for hand loading for a 243 Winchester, because this is a suggestion from several of my viewers of me trying a powder and bullet combination that I've never tried before. Actually, two powders. So the target is set up at 100 yards. Let's go ahead and get shooting. Okay, I'm up here with my 24-inch Bear Creek Arsenal AR-10 in 243 with a 24-inch barrel, as I said. But the reason I have that is because the statistics that I'm getting out of the manuals are using a 24-inch barrel. So I want to be able to be pretty close. So the suggested powders by some of my frequent viewers in this particular case is powders that I've never tried. IMR 4350. That stuff was expensive, about $63 for 1 pound, so there might be a reason that I don't use it. Not only that, it's an extruded powder, and it's a long stick powder, so it's kind of hard to get exact measurements within 1/10 of a grain. The other powder is Ramshot Hunter. Now I'm hoping this one really works out because this was half the price of IMR 4350, and the numbers were supposed to be pretty good. But we're going to test that, and the bullet that I'll be using is the Sierra tipped Game King, which used to be called Game Changer, in 90 grains. Now, this is not a varmint bullet, this is an actual deer bullet. It's got a real translucent tip there. I'll show you over here, I guess, and you'll be able to see it close up. But it also has a very high ballistic coefficient of 0.490. So now in a 243, generally you have to seat the bullet pretty deep inside the case, so therefore you give up a little velocity compared to the 6mm Creedmoor. But in this particular case, I don't have to, because they designed this bullet and recommend a minimum of 1 in 9 twist, which this barrel has a 1 in 8 twist. So I should be able to shoot this at a length of 2.700. That's pretty long for a 243. So let's really hope for great accuracy down there. But we're going to test it, starting with the IMR 4350. Now I want to caution you a little bit here. The load data was all over the map for the 4 sources that I use. Some of them had a very low maximum powder charge. Some of them said I could go as much as 3 grains higher than that. So I'm going to be pretty cautious, but yet bold, and hope to give you a good situation. Now, I've already fired 1 shot in a previous load with H4350 and the same 90 grain bullet set a little bit deeper. And that came out to a speed of 3250, or 3275. So I do have a benchmark to measure these loads with. Okay, let me go turn the camera on down there. Let's go ahead and test them out. You'll be able to see them. I'm going to let you see all of the shots today, so this will be a long video. All right, let's go. All right, I've said this many times, but I still get those comments once in a while. There's a difference between precision and accuracy. Precision is simply the numbers that you garner by working up loads and to find out if there's low standard deviation, low extreme spread, good velocity, and the numbers are consistent. Accuracy is simply point of aim, point of impact being the same. And if you have good precision numbers, then that helps you out at further distance, because each shot is going to be, at least in terms of the velocity and the numbers, consistent. But accuracy is done with the scope, and you know, the shooter's ability can get in the way of that and throw a shot once in a while. And anybody that's never thrown a shot doesn't shoot much. I throw a lot of them. Okay, so up first, 41 grains, IMR, 4350. Let's see how she shoots. Okay, real slow, 3065. $30.71. Okay, and I would say that's probably 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch group. Not acceptable, but we're moving up now. Okay, let me go reset everything. See you in a moment. Okay, those three had an average of 30-36. So that's a good 200 feet per second below where the H4350 was. All right, let's go ahead and shoot the next three. All I did was go up a half a grain to 4150 because the max listed is 43.5 and I'm going up to 43. So let's see. I don't know. Pretty disappointing off the bat. $31.39. That's a pretty good jump. $31.52. $31.48. All right, well, maybe I spoke too soon. It's getting there. A little bit better group as well. Okay, I'll give you the numbers. Reset. Okay, that was pleasantly surprised. Almost 100 feet per second increase there. The average was 31.46 as opposed to the previous being 30.36. So on a half a grain of powder. All right, so now I just went up to 43. Again, the max listed load is 43.5, and at 43.5 I'm supposed to be at 32.24 according to Hodgdon's manual. So we'll see. Cases look good. All right, environmental conditions, you might be able to hear it. The wind's right at a steady 15 miles an hour. It's about, right at 50 degrees. Semi-clear day. Wind is blowing straight at me. All right, so let's go ahead and get these last three of IMR 4350 out of the way. Wow. Hey, that drifted clear to the right. That last shot was 31.89. All right. Well, I'm going to do a couple of things before we move on to the next powder. Number one, I'm going to move my scope over a little bit because that last shot really threw. All right, reset everything. Let's get going. Okay, that last average was a little better than I thought. 32.10, but a really lousy standard deviation of 20 and extreme spread of 40. But I think that powder has promise towards the top end. We'll have to see. All right, now up is Ramshot Hunter. Now I hope, and I'm really rooting for this powder because it only costs $36 a pound. That's back to the old prices. And Hodgson bought Ramshot powders, but it's manufactured in Montana. Alright, and this is a ball powder, and I am partial to ball powders because they generally give you more velocity. The competition people don't care much for ball powders, but I'm not a competition guy, I'm a hunter, and I want that speed. Alright, so here we go with the first three, 43 grains. Let's see how it works. Alright, I adjusted my scope, so let's see how far she comes over. Okay, 3053. .30-31. And 30-46. All right, check those cases out. Primer looks good. Cases are nice and clean. All right, we reset up, move on to the second group. Be right back. Okay, well, the scope adjustment worked. How about that? All right, so now just going up a half a grain to 43.5. According to the data on Hodgson's website, I could go up to 44.8, and I'm going to top out at 44 because I don't know the powder. Now, some people put a lot of stock in what they call case fill or load density. In this particular case with this ball powder, I'm going to max out at about 81% of case capacity. So it's far from being compacted. I sort of like that. All right. 43.5. Let's hope for a gradual increase, not a big spike. Target right next to the last one I shot. .30-86. .31-05. .30-96. Okay, that's pretty gradual. All right, so let's go to the last load, which is 43.5. Set up. See you in a moment. Okay, those last three I did get up to 3,100, so that's about 130 feet per second below where I want to be. But again, I'm working up cautiously. All right, this will be 44 grains. As I said, the maximum, according to Hodgson's website, is 44.8, and that's supposed to be 3,300 feet per second. So I'm really lacking behind what Hodgson has in their manual. But we're going to go ahead and shoot these last three shots. Now, as I have explained in multiple 243 videos, is the 243 is a finicky cartridge to load for. Primarily because I've probably shot 15 to 20, maybe even 30 different bullet powder combinations, primer combinations, even case combinations. I haven't been disappointed in any, but some of them give the velocity that I wanted and some of them don't. Then it comes down to just pure accuracy, and I'm not testing for accuracy today. I'm testing for precision. So here we go. Oh, by the way, the cases are just fine. So here we go with the last three. Let's hope for at least a pretty good jump, but I'm really happy with the increment. That only went up about 50 feet per second on that last go around on a half a grain. All right, here we go. Last three. hope for the best target. That does look like the best target of the day, and that generally happens. I don't know why. It's a quirk of mine, I guess. All right, well, you know the drill. I'm going to gather up the target, gather up the numbers, go ahead and let you analyze the target, and maybe because of that high BC for this bullet, we'll go ahead and do a ballistic caliber chart so that you can see it based upon all three powders, 4350, IMR 4350, and Ramshot Hunter. See you back at the barn. Okay, let's take a look at this ballistic table real quick. BCA 10, 243 with a 90 grain Sierra tip Game King with a G1 BC of .490, going 3,200 feet per second. Okay, look at this. 300 yards, still got an energy of 1420 and a 9-inch drop. At 500 yards, still got an energy of 1,097 with the 37.7-inch drop. So you want to be a little careful between 300 and 500 yards in terms of your drops only. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get to the targets and analyze those. Okay, let's take a look at this target. This is what you wanted to see. Okay, BCA 10, 243, 90 grain Sierra tip Game King IMR 4350. This was my first shot with H 4350, and that achieved 3,275 with the same bullet. Okay, so then I started out with 41 grains. SD was 20, extreme spread was 38, average is 3056, group of .705. Okay, then 41.5 kicked up to 31.46, and the SD came down, and the group size came down. Okay, then the last here, 32.10, SD of 20, extreme spread of 40, and I kind of threw one over here, so that opened it up to 1.32 inches. All right, then over here now is the Ramshot Hunter. Okay, all right, so started out with 43 grains, 30.43, an SD of 11, extreme spread of 22, group size is 753. Then 43.5, average is 30.95, SD of 9, extreme spread of 19, .942, and grouped here, but I threw one there. Then 44 grains, came up to 31.20, SD of 6, extreme spread of 13, .382 for that final group, and that looked pretty good. So there's kind of an old saying amongst horsemen that if you look for the bad in a colt, you're likely to find it. But if you look for a good in a colt, you're likely to find it. So the bad and the good, well, the bad was I didn't achieve, except for on that last one, the velocity I was looking for. But Ramshot, the good, was low SDs all the way through for a ball powder, and I'm happy with that. Plus, I can go up almost a full grain here to try to get that speed up another 80 feet per second, and I'll give that a shot. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. It only takes a second to check that thumb on there. Subscribe and check your subscriptions, because I've been notified by some people that they've been unsubscribed for some reason. But no matter what, as always, may God bless y'all. See you again next time. Goodbye.